You are.
Okay, great. I haven't been to the audience. I'll call this town of Vinalhaven Board of Selectmen meeting to order for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Roll call, Tom Anthony, Don Young, Leslie Dyer, myself, Elizabeth Bunker, Marjorie Stratton, and Lad Olson is on Zoom. Item 2, approve agenda.
So moved.
Second. We have one thing to move. We're going to move the item 8A, reschedule workshop with ICMS board up to after number 4. Okay.
Thank you, Pam.
You're welcome, Emily. I expect to see you out skipping rope in that spring. Okay. Number 3, item 3, minutes.
Approve as amended.
Approve as amended.
Yes.
Approve the agenda as amended. Pardon me.
Yes.
Moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor.
We might get it through it.
We might, but maybe not. Time will tell.
It may be a struggle.
Oh gosh, I know.
Can I get a copy of the minutes from last meeting?
Are they not in there?
My bad. I will get you a copy.
Oh,
Hard to approve them if I don't have
no,
them.
they're not here.
No.
I already read them online, so did anybody read them?
To be accurate.
I looked through.
I read them. Okay. I have an, I'll abstain. You guys can vote on it. We'll go from there.
Lad, are you all set? Did you read the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, great. So approve the minutes. Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Abstain.
Number 4, approve and sign treasurer's warrant number 30.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And 8A, reschedule workshop with ICMS board.
I'm here this evening representing the ICMS board. I'm vice chair of the board. And we are very anxious to get together with the selectmen to share our finances. Glad to see Pam's feeling better. We have polled our board, and those that would be coming, including Tyson, who is our COO. They are not available on February 7th, February 14th, or February 15th, but they are available any other time. So whatever works for you people, we're anxious to get together. The sooner, the better.
Okay. Well, we're going to canvass the board for their thoughts. Leslie, you want to go first?
I don't know. Do we really need to have a meeting?
Yeah, please.
Tell your thoughts. Is that?
I mean, I'll go with what the rest of the board, how the rest of the board feels.
Tom.
I think as long as we can have a transparent, productive discussion, then I think it makes sense. Anything less than that would be a waste of time.
Yeah, well, it's our intention.
Lad? Oh, just a second, Emily, please.
Excuse me.
Sorry. Lad, go ahead. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Tom. If it's gonna be a circle talking session like the last few, unless they've got a clear path and an actual ask that they want to make. I don't see, if they don't have that, then I don't see a need to have the meeting.
And I agree. We need to, we get a lot of requests for donations and whatnot from other nonprofits. They always supply, or usually supply us with information on their financials, and many times we'll have an ask. of what they might be seeking for donations. Personally, I don't feel we need to go through the whole thing with slides, and I think that's unnecessary.
I think that we ought to do it, but we need an agenda that spells out exactly what we're gonna do. And I do think it's a good thing to be talking, not just talking at each other. So I think if it's be productive, we ought to be doing it.
It'd be nice to have, reference material beforehand to review.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, there's 2 or 3 or 4 of us sitting on this board that are fairly familiar with financial statements. And it would allow us to develop pertinent, intelligent questions to the board and to their representatives concerning their financials and whatever ask they might bring.
Vlad, anything further?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Marjorie, do you want to add anything to the conversation?
Well, it's troubling to me that we don't really know yet what the ask is. I mean, we've been told that there's probably a financial ask from the town. It would be nice if we knew what that was and what the reasoning behind it was. I mean, we've gotten a lot of information, but no direct. It's all indirect information about medical center past expenses, future expenses, what they're getting from their funding agencies and what they're not getting from funding agencies. But as Pam said, we get a lot of financial asks from a lot of different nonprofits. And I know that this financial ask will probably be a lot more than what they're asking for, but it's just it's a nice letter, a little bit of financial information, why they want this amount of money from the town of Vinalhaven. And it's, it just seems like it should be more direct. There should be a more direct path than what's been happening. And I would like to know what it is they're asking for, and then at least the Board of Selectmen can consider that and have a conversation.
Okay.
I think it's true we get all the requests. However, I don't think any of them have as much of importance to the town of Vinalhaven as this one does.
I don't
think we really should be talking and just understanding better. I don't. I mean, the first to admit, I do not really have a good feel for it. And I'd like to have a better understanding of what they're after, why, and what the other options might be.
Well, that's why I say I can't see that going through all the slides again and all of that talk. I mean, I've been through it twice already. I really don't think that we need to be looking at the information that we've had in the past. It's
Transparency.
Yeah, we just basically, I think what Marjorie just said, we just want to know what it is the medical center is looking for and discuss the financials. We'd like to see these things prior to any meeting.
Yep. Again, we part of the agenda, no backup.
And we'll have an agenda, and it will be the same as what the last meeting that had to be postponed, canceled, postponed. I don't know what the big deal was about the wording, but anyway, that there won't be questions from the audience because this is not going to be a 3-hour hoorah. You know, if you have things you would like to say, an email to the board or to Elizabeth or to Marjorie, anybody can do that, but it's going to be too confusing. And we just want to have a simple, let's figure out what it is that's going on. Emily, do you have anything?
I think that is the intention. We're not going to have a lot of slides, just explaining, the finances, the financials, and no other slides, and then discussing, what the shortfall is, but certainly this is helpful. I'll take this back to the group in terms of coming up with, the ask, and the information is going to be very direct and very transparent.
And this will all be sent to us prior to the meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So is it the consensus of the board that we reschedule?
Once we have the information in hand, I'm fine.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to take, Glad, you all set with that?
Yep.
Okay. Leslie, you gonna go with the majority? Or do you wanna say, you can object, I mean, you can say nay, you don't have to say
Yeah,
yes.
I know.
I mean, we're not voting, it's a consensus, but
I mean, we've been asking for this for months, and every time we have a meeting of one kind or another, it's everything but. I just don't think this is gonna be any different, so.
well, hopefully it will be. What were the dates again that you can't, the 7th and 14th?
14th and the 15th.
Right, okay.
7, 14.
Those are the can't.
Right.
I'm just.
It doesn't matter what night or afternoon, it's gonna be a 5 o'clock meeting, correct? Like we had the exact same thing.
Our next board meeting is the 6th.
Can we do it? Doesn't have to be a Tuesday for us. What,
Right.
does it matter to your board, Emily, what day it is?
Nope. Those are
Okay.
the only dates that people
Okay.
have conflicts.
Yep. It really doesn't matter to me. My schedule is pretty heavy this week, but I think the 1st of February, I don't think I have much going on.
So your regular meeting is the 6th.
Yep.
What dates are we planning again?
I'm sorry?
What dates are we talking about now?
The 7th and the 14th and 15th are the dates that their board are not available. We can do any other, I mean, the 6th is our next BOS meeting, so doesn't matter to me.
Do the 5th?
You want a Monday?
Okay.
Did you say the 5th?
Yeah, that way we have it before a regular board meeting.
Good idea, Dawn. Yes.
Marjorie is out of the office.
What?
Would it be a Zoom meeting?
You're out of the office that week?
After the
No, she's gonna be away the 14th.
the 14th.
Right.
After
No, we would have it, we want to
Before.
have it like the first week of February.
Okay,
You're not away until the 14th, correct?
right.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? The 6th?
5th we talked about.
Dawn just
On a
said,
Monday?
Yeah, so we have prior to our regular board meeting, we can follow up from there as we go.
Is this a Zoom or a in-person?
I would say that if the ED and the executive board members, I know some of them might not be able to be here in person, but if Cam is not here in person and Dick Young is not here in person, and Emily, you be able to attend in person,
Yes.
then we won't have a meeting. If Cam is not here in person, we won't, I'm gonna cancel the meeting again.
Okay. All right.
And the only Zoom participants that will be allowed to speak will be did you say your executive committee?
Our CO
Oh, Tyson, right.
Tyson.
And Barb Kender, would she be on Zoom?
Yes.
Okay. So that's fine, that's good. Because obviously they can't be here. But
5 o'clock?
any island members, we would request they be here in person.
So I have Monday, February 5th at 5 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, Emily, thank you.
Yeah,
Take care.
thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. Moving on. Item 5, communications.
I don't have any.
Thank you. Number 6, speakers from the floor. Seeing none.
Would it be chat right now to introduce?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
It's fine.
Donna. I can't, my head is so
I'm
clogged. I
speaking
can't.
very low.
Okay.
Should we introduce Peter while we're here to everybody?
Sure. Are you here just to visit? Are you want to speak? You're just observing? Oh, okay. Would you like to be introduced to the general public via Facebook? Okay. This is, Margie, I'll let you do the introduction.
This is our resident deputy, Peter Allen, and his son, I'm sorry, Micaiah. They're here visiting at the selectmen's meeting tonight to observe. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Good to see you. Great. Now we put a face to the name. You're in trouble now, Peter.
Speed dial.
Speed dial.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's great. Nice to meet you. Moving on to item 7, committee and departmental reports and appointments. Woodard and Kern status report, and we've got a reliable Gabe right there waiting. And she wants to, do you want to do this, Gabe?
Well, there's some
give
date changes.
I'm sorry?
Said I won't give the Woodard and Curtin status report, but I can certainly do the downtown project.
Right.
Yeah.
This status report generally is, anybody have questions on that before we move along? I mean, it's pretty standard. But the next ones are definitely, the next 2 are Gabe and Marjorie, I assume, too.
Did you have, is that what you meant by date changes? Did you have?
Yeah, Gabe, on the Woodard and Curran report for the downtown project, they had the pre-bid meeting on there for January 24th. I just wanted to clarify that we haven't gone out to bid yet. We're waiting for a main DOT permit. Any updates on that, on those dates?
No updates on the dates because we need to, Woodard and Kern wants to have the permit in hand and then they will reissue those dates. But we heard today that they're giving us the permit. They're putting, it looks like they're putting it together now, like they're working on it today. So we should know by the end of the week what the revised dates are. And then our NBRC final comment period is Thursday. That's the closing date. So the environmental reviewer would have received any comments or will need to have received all comments by Thursday. And we sent them a message today just to see what the next steps are in terms of them issuing us the full notice to proceed. So I know every week, every meeting I come on and say that we're close. So probably people don't want to keep hearing that.
I'm starting to doubt you, Gabe.
Yes, I will have no integrity left if I should just stay away making reports until I have something good to say. But I guess the bottom line is there continues to be progress, and you know, I know anything can happen, but we're close. So
okay.
Could
I
ask a question?
Yep, hold on just 1 second, Tom. I just want to know, are we moving into downtown project now, or is this still Woodard and Curran report? Gabe, that was
I apologize because I thought we were on downtown project. So if you were still on Woodard and Curran, then my
no, that's
apologies.
fine.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the right page here. So, okay, Tom, go ahead.
My question, unfortunately, is on Woodard and Curran.
Mm-hmm.
What's left on the punch list for the transfer station?
The same things. I mean, I keep looking at that and getting really frustrated about, you know, they need to make the fence gates wider. There's still a little ladder that needs to be installed so the guys can get down in between the two compactors up on the top of the hill, and there's still the gap that people could potentially fall into between the demo and the
Or whatever you want to call it.
yeah, the edge.
Yeah.
So there's still a few things, and I don't.
And it's been going on for what?
Oh, I don't know if it's been 6 months. Maybe it has. Maybe.
And what
Also,
what do we have for recourse?
Can we
Fresh
push for
ones.
liquidated damages?
Well, we haven't
can we
made a
what?
final payment.
I cannot hear.
Right, but can we, like, liquidated damages, start taking money off or upcharging them?
Oh, I don't know.
That happens,
Oh, I
it's quite
see.
common in big construction jobs. If it's not done by a certain date, liquidated damages come in.
That's right.
Well,
You're right.
to be clear, he built the fence to the specifications that were in the plans. And then we wanted the wider opening.
So that was a change order.
Yeah.
So would that still apply?
Still applies, it's a change order, and the ladder, was that a change order, or was that?
I think that was in the original plan, but I wouldn't swear to it. I'd have to go back and look at the last change order.
What was the ladder again?
So they can get between the two containers.
Oh, okay.
Is that loud enough?
Yes, you're coming in loud and clear. Thank you.
I can get closer. if you
No,
want me
that's
to.
fine. Everything is muffled. I'm really
I know.
sorry.
Don't
My
apologize.
apologies. My apologies. Any other comments?
It's good to understand what's.
Oh,
still
absolutely.
pending, and
Yeah,
I don't know what we have for recourse, but
I'll contact.
let's see what we can do. Wrong time of year to be doing that kind of stuff right now anyway, but
True.
trying to pound stakes.
Well, at least try to find out what the delay is.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on?
Yeah.
okay. All right, we're all set with the status report, then we will continue back down to 7B. Gabe.
Is it Sea Level Rise Committee?
No, are you done with the downtown project?
Yeah, those are all the updates I
Okay.
have. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Wow, everything got a little convoluted there for a second. All right.
My
well,
fault, I'm sorry.
no, that's fine. You're fine. I'm glad you apologized, though, knowing my state of mind.
You warned me already.
I know.
I gotta sit next to her. So you
So,
I can push away, so.
you can run, but you can't hide. Okay, so moving down to sea level rise.
So Molly Miller's gonna present for the Sea Level Rise Committee, and I will share some slides.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Molly Miller. If you don't know me for context, I'm Sam Rosen's partner. I work from home mostly, so there's a decent chance you have never seen me.
Right.
But my background is marine resource management, fisheries, aquaculture kind of stuff. And so I only joined the Sea Level Rise Committee like a little less than a year ago now. So the stuff that I'm talking about that has been worked on, a lot of it was before me, but Gabe and Linnell are here as well if you guys have questions. And we just wanted to give you a little update of where things have been and what we're hoping to do this year, and see if you guys have any suggestions for us as well. So anyways, in 2020, most of you probably know the committee completed a report that had a work plan for us, and it was based around 4 different areas that were outreach and engagement, citizen science and data collection, emergency management, and planning. And the report is on the town website under our committee if you're looking for it. And one of the things that the report said was that we were thinking about broadening our scope to more than just sea level rise in terms of climate impacts, and also changing the name to reflect that. And so the select board had agreed to that in 2020. And then when the pandemic happened, a lot of this stuff just didn't happen and was put on hold. So in July, we came back to this and had a work planning meeting. And we have decided to change our name to the Sea Level Rise and Climate Committee, and broaden the mission a bit, which is written on this first slide Gabe's showing you. So it's to understand and assess threats to and opportunities for our island posed by sea level rise and the changing climate, to make adaptation and mitigation recommendations to the select board, and then to regularly engage and educate the community about possible resilience actions that we could take. So does anyone have any questions about the report before I start talking about what we're hoping to do now?
I don't think so.
Great. Okay.
Actually, are we supposed to have a report? We don't have a report.
The 2020 report, yeah, is just
you mean from the old report from
yes, that was what I was
I see.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we are going to do another report for this year, which is one of the action items we're hoping to take. So for these 4 different categories, just a little bit about what has happened. For outreach and engagement, we weren't able to do a lot of community events and public engagement stuff during the pandemic. So we really focused on building out our website page on the town website with the reports and sea level rise information that you can see if anyone clicks on the committee's name. And then we've been running some public service announcements in the wind about the monthly king tides and our data collection projects that I'll talk about in a second. And then for citizen science and data collection, these are the places that we focused a lot of our time. And that's the Tide Trackers project, which collects images and the tide gauge readings for the annual king tides. We also do tide and weather station monitoring. It's set up at the ferry terminal. If you've seen it, it takes digital tidal and weather readings and images, and it broadcasts them to a website that we just connected via link to the town website, so people can look at that if they're interested. And then we're also part of an ecosystem investigation network, which is a project we're helping the Land Trust with. And it's through Gulf of Maine Research Institute, using observational data collection so that anyone can take pictures of the island and record observations for vulnerable locations and upload them to the tracking website through GMRI. So those are the things that we had done. Emergency management, we'd been a little bit less active in, but we did work with Mark a bit on the town's emergency operations plan. And we've been involved in conversations with Mark and Ryan about some of the activities for hazard mitigation, including the roadway vulnerabilities and wildfire mitigation. In the planning area, we've been taking part in developing a model resilience ordinances for coastal communities, which hopefully the town could adopt if they're applicable. And we've been able to help move the North Haven Road Vinyl Cove study forward, and to get resilience components put into the downtown project that included the sewer climate adaptation stuff and parking lot and roadway elevations and the stormwater management. And we're also advising Woodward and Curran on additional storm surge and sea level rise adaptations for the downtown parking lot. Okay, so that's all the past stuff. Does anyone have questions about that?
Yeah, what kind of click-through rate do you have on your websites?
I'm sorry?
What kind of click-through visitor rates do you have on your websites?
Okay.
Are they being accessed?
Yeah, we don't monitor that. We don't, I mean, it's on the town website. I suppose we could figure out how to do that. I know there's a way to do it, but we don't do that.
So, okay. Thank you.
And I will just make one correction. We were supposed to have our weather station imagery link up on the town website. It's coming. So we'll make sure that it's there ASAP, but we said that it was there, but it's not yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
That'll be-
so yeah, most of that stuff is stuff that happened actually before I was a part of the committee. So thank you, Gabe. So for the third slide, now I'm talking about 2024, what we are hoping to do. And so one of the things is coming out with a new work plan similar to the 2021. And in the 4 areas, we're keeping those the same focus areas. But aside from updating the report, we'd like to provide adaptation and mitigation resources for property and business owners. That can include funding options or energy efficiency and rebate things that people could do. We'd like to work more closely with North Haven where possible on some of the different climate impacts that both islands share. We're participating in a climate ambassador training to learn ways to just communicate basic climate science and develop ways to support community-based climate actions. We're using the process of re-enrollment in the Community Resilience Partnership to engage the community to help identify climate mitigation strategies. So this partnership assists communities to reduce carbon emissions, transition to clean energy, and just generally become more resilient to climate change effects, including extreme weather and floods and rising sea levels and that kind of stuff.
Hold this closer. Yeah. Hopefully they're not coming.
Sorry, was there a question?
No, I'm sorry. We're just trying to accommodate Lizzie's broken leg.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Okay, so one of the other things, we're working on the LED streetlight project with North Haven and Fox Island Electric, but there are also other energy-related cost-saving measures we can help with throughout the town and community if people are interested. And we'd like to continue to use the wind to regularly share information. The keeping track of who's clicking on our link is also a good idea, actually, to see who we're actually reaching. And we'd like to present quarterly updates to you guys in case there are suggestions from you as we move forward. For the citizen science and data collection, we're hoping to improve the data collection project so that it is more accessible to the public and easier to find what we're doing. For emergency management, we are supporting Mark and Ryan as needed and exploring ways to help address the wildfire mitigation. And then for the planning, we're continuing to assess infrastructure vulnerabilities to sea level rise and storm surge and explore solutions to some of these different climate vulnerabilities. We're also exploring joining FEMA's community rating system. And after FEMA's next round of map revisions, helping determine whether the town should contest the maps. And this is an incentive program that recognizes and encourages communities to do floodplain management, and that management that exceeds the minimum requirement for the National Flood Insurance Program through incentives of lower rates for insurance. We're also taking part in a managed retreat project with GMRI and partners. So that's talking about what moving away from the coast looks like if you're trying to move different businesses and things like that. We're working to help update the sewer climate adaptation plan and exploring recommendations for climate mitigation actions generally. We're working with partners on a water capacity and water quality study. We're exploring marsh mitigation and other habitat climate-related impacts. And we're recommending and working on a climate resilience chapter for the next comprehensive plan. And then also working on a study to design the wave break and crib work replacement at the ferry terminal. So that's all of the stuff we're hoping to do. If you have any questions or recommendations for other stuff we should consider, we'd love to hear it. And if you don't think of it off the top of your head, you're welcome to email us.
I do have a question about the maps. Are those maps the ones that were being contested, Gabe? The floodplain maps?
So can you say that again, Pam?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are those maps, the floodplain maps, remember there was a lot of discussion a few years ago that they were being contested because they were not accurate.
Right. Yeah. So those were the 2014 FEMA flood maps, and FEMA has reissued new flood maps, but not for this area because they still need to do the imaging of the coast. So they need to do that LiDAR photography. So we don't have new maps yet. But when we do, we should, in that period of time where towns can review maps, we should look at them, because I think the whole question around that letter of map revision, or the LOMAR, that the town was considering a few years ago, had to do with the fact that we didn't contest the maps at the time when we had the opportunity to, just because we just weren't in a space to do that, I think. And then the question was, well, after the fact, you can contest them and do these letters of map revisions, which some people have done on the island in certain areas. And the way Ransom Engineering was positioning that was that we could likely change the maps, but it wouldn't make sense to do it now. It would make sense to wait until the next maps come out, and then, which should be, soon, hopefully by next year. And then in that span of time, do a review of the maps and determine whether we're going to contest them at that point.
Right.
I would strongly suggest we take a very, very harsh look at this. 26 feet is ridiculous, and it damages a lot of people who want to sell property, and the flood insurance is killing the sales. So that as a town, we should be very proactive on this when the time comes.
Well, we had tried to be proactive a few years ago, but apparently it was, as she said, it was
dropped.
I don't know if it was dropped or
Too little, too late.
if it was not the way it happened, was it didn't get done at the proper time. Whenever the maps were, they 2014, you say, Gabe? Yeah.
I believe Stonington did challenge it and did get relief on it.
Yeah, and as Molly said, like with the community rating system, it wouldn't be that we would want to just contest the maps. I mean, we'd like to bring more information about the community rating system. There are many communities along the coast of Maine that are part of the community rating system, and really it's through ordinances, and then providing guidelines for flood mitigation for properties that people can considerably reduce their flood insurance rates. But I mean, honestly, like, I think people are feeling a little frustrated about flood insurance at this point anyway. So it's going to be definitely a cost benefit analysis to determine, what things are actually worth it. There might be different, means of, I mean, the idea behind that too is like not to keep building in the same way, right? To, like, people are saying, like, build back stronger, build back higher. And then, there's a question of even like, I was talking with folks in Portland, and they were saying, so much of the conversation of the working waterfront is like how so much of the working waterfront, along the southern coast is like needs to be pulled back away. And we obviously don't have a lot of, options there, but it's just a question of how many times can something get damaged before people just can't rebuild anymore. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation, but these are just like tools to explore. And I think that's what we're wanting to explore, the tools. And if we feel like we have some recommendations that would be helpful to the community and the town, we will bring them to you.
Well, considering what everybody's just been through in the last 2 weeks, whenever, I hope we get a lot more input from the community. And it just all seems so far away when we were talking about it a few years ago. And then suddenly it's here. I mean, it's scary. So Molly, it was very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Thanks for taking the time. I know you have a long meeting, so thanks for listening.
No, that was great. It was
Thank you.
a good presentation. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, Gabe. Oh, Gabe, no, you might not be leaving. Bye. Yep.
I'll hang around.
Okay. Thank you. That was good. Very informational. 7D, Public Works. And Millie, I don't know if you're prepared to present your report, but
I'm not at all.
but far be it for me to suggest.
Most of the storm damage has been repaired. We had several washouts, Carrying Place Bridge. Up by Shirley Guilford's, there were actually 2 on that bridge. And a few other places, obviously. Lanes Island is quite a mess. I think some of it is storm damage and some of it is just a long time coming. It's got a pretty good washout. It's not up to the road, but it's next to the road. It's gonna require quite a bit of work, and I'm still talking to Marjorie about plans on that because the barrier, if you wanna call it,
right,
the rotten wood with the rusty wire in it, that is sliding down the embankment in the riprap, and some of it's exposed up to 12 feet. So that really needs to be taken care of as well. And I bid on the project a few years ago when it was up for bid when I was working for the construction company. And the bids were all too high, so the state denied all bids. So Marjorie's actually making some phone calls to see where we will stand on that and, what, if anything, does the state plan to do?
Well, I remember when we went through this whole thing, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. It's my understanding that the bridge is the state's responsibility and the approaches are the town's. True?
The abutments are town, yes. And it's the same thing with the Main Street Bridge. The bridges themselves are state, the abutting sides are our town. So
so they call them approaches.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about, correct? Okay. Yeah. So is it possible to redo the Lanes Island side of that approach and repair that in a way that will, stand up to everything, all the wind and weather and tides, and not have to worry about having it redone if they decide to do the bridge, if the state decides they need to repair or replace?
My plan right now would be to add some riprap on the embankment, and just try to build that on the outside back up. There's not much I could do as far as like the barrier itself goes. That's got to be either guardrail or, I would almost do a concrete.
We already have a great guardrail already picked out.
Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, we had several conversations about what the guardrail will look like. A few years ago with some of the property owners down there. So
okay, that's interesting.
You can speak with them about that. But in the meantime, what is going on there with the old wood posts and the cables?
Well,
what are you going to before you just go pour a bunch of cement, which is probably not going to be the answer, maybe at this time. Right.
Yeah. What? A slip rail or something like that.
So what would you do?
I would do a slip rail. They use a really quick drying concrete and they cast it as they go and it pours and the form slides and just makes the railing but you still need rebar and a plan for your base, you've gotta have a base and all of that first, so it's out of my crew's wheelhouse. By a long shot. When you get into concrete.
And that section is considered abutment?
Yeah, it's both sides, the approach and the abutment for the bridge.
So it's our bailiwick and not the state.
It's our liability, I believe.
Just a question, if we do something with those approaches, abutments, whatever vernacular we want to use, and the state redesigns a bridge. Well, if they do.
Yeah.
But I'm theoretically. And they don't conform to it, then we would be responsible for making them conform to the bridge.
Yeah, that's why I'd
Yeah, I
hesitate
mean, I've been working on something.
I would hesitate to want to do something permanent there if the
Right,
state
that's
is
what I
gonna
was
come in.
All I wanna do right now is rip rock.
It needs to be fixed because it's very dangerous.
It's very dangerous, there's really not a lot.
But I wouldn't only add that one that really needs to have attention. Not Aries, I'm sorry, by Richard Carlson's.
Yep.
Creed's
That
Cove.
needs-
Creed's Cove, thank you.
That
Mhm.
needs guardrail.
That is to me
I had
more
that.
dangerous than Lane's Island.
I had that tested, I had Caldwell's Neck tested, and I had Granite Island Bridge tested. For what they would need to install guardrail. And in all three places, there's so much granite there that they would have to drill almost every other hole.
Right,
So the quote that I got back to start just, so if you wanna take, Caldwell's Neck just past, Hopkins. We start a guardrail about where those stones are and come around, which is all required. Come around and start at the midway up the hill to stop was over $145,000 for one side. Granite Island was around 125,000. And that's where we get hit every year too on our DOT when they come out and do their inspections of bridges. And every year they hit us wanting us to get guardrails up there. But it's just it's just so expensive and it's hard to get,
Sell the stone, you could probably break even.
what did he say? What'd you say?
I said, if you sold those stone
Oh,
blocks,
oh.
you could probably break even.
Yeah, maybe. I need one of those horns.
So that, and also Main Street, I'm pushing on them again, it's been 2 years. The Down Street project's looking like it might start happening eventually. They wanted to tie in at the same time and go in and fix the bridges on Main Street, repair them. And I have not heard a word back from them, so I emailed them again today. I tried some different people. Marjorie was nice enough to share some contacts with me, so we'll check. I'm hoping to hear back from them in the next few days to see if there's any movement on getting Main Street settled up before somebody, I mean, the holes are they just keep coming and I fix them and back they are. So.
Right. Well, it's hard, it's all made land there, so,
Now I'm at the mercy of the court.
okay, give it to her.
All right. So I found a 2024 Dodge Ram dump truck / plow truck. Brand new at Shepherd's. Purchase is, it started off at $89.99, whatever it is. And we got them down to $86,565. This truck comes with everything on it that we need to plow, in place of Rolly's truck, which we're talking about, replacing next year or sooner if we could, anyway. So when I look at this truck and then I look at the truck that I priced out for the budget, I priced out 68,000 for a chassis and another 67,000 to outfit the truck with the plows, the body and the whole works. So that's $135,000. I can buy this truck for 86,565 tomorrow if I wanted to. And I know we do have money in the reserve. And I kind of feel like we should jump on this and do it. We're gonna have quite a savings. The only thing that I would anticipate is next year putting a $7,300 sander in it. But for the rest of this year, it could be just put some sand in the back for weight. It's 4-wheel drive, 3,500, which is comparable to a 550 dump truck now. The 350 pickup trucks are lighter and they don't have the beefed up springs that the 3,500 dump trucks have. I talked to Jake about he has a 3,500 Chevy, I think, and plowing, hauling 4 yards, just like Rolly's truck. It's pretty much the same truck.
What year's Rolls truck?
15.
What kind of truck?
Ford F-550.
550.
And what is the structure?
Diesel, gas? I'm sorry.
No, it's
Diesel.
fine.
We only run diesel.
Oh, not diesel. So this new Ram will be diesel as well.
Right.
That's got the Cummings in it, or did they?
I think it does.
Cummings, yeah, Cummings.
Essentially, oh, I'll have to dig through that.
Usually, yeah.
But I will.
And the 550's dual axle, dual rear wheel?
Yeah.
Or always truck, this one dual rear wheel?
Yep.
It is.
Yeah, it is. And it's a 4-yard capacity,
Yeah.
same as Rollies.
Yeah. How many miles on Rollins?
Top ones.
Yeah, probably, I don't know, maybe he's got 60,000 on it, but Rolly's truck, if we're gonna keep it any longer, I've gotta put, a new body on it, dump body on it, or I priced out just putting steel base down
Right,
for $2,000
Yeah.
plus installation, welding.
that wasn't where I was going.
Yeah. I'd like to keep Rolly's truck as a spare.
Okay,
I don't wanna get rid of it.
so we're adding to the fleet.
Yes, except for Rolly's truck will be a spare. You know, if we have a good sized storm and we need somebody else to help plow, or we do have 5 people to plow and 4 trucks.
Yeah,
You know,
or
so-
give a breakdown or.
Yeah, and it would be nice to have that,
Yeah.
because we do break down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, almost
Oh,
every storm, something
The way
happens.
those vehicles are used, it's not surprising at all.
The miles that we put on, especially plowing, are hard miles.
So are you asking us to do this tonight, to talk about this tonight and give you, a motion? Okay.
So this 120 for
It's
the
in the
one we
budget.
spec'd out has already been budgeted and approved?
No.
That's gonna be budgeted.
That'll be budgeted for next year, and it's actually about 135.
Does this replace that then?
This would replace Rolly's truck, but we can keep Rolly's truck.
The $135,000 one is what Marjorie, I believe, meant.
Oh,
Would that be, if you wait and you have to buy that one for 135,000, is it the same thing? Is that what you're asking? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Marjorie, I'm trying to speak for you.
Is this in place of?
This is in place of that truck.
Mhm.
We do also Western Stars of 2016 that we are dumping a bunch of money into. But to order that one and get it on the road and everything is gonna be well over 200,000.
You're right.
And it's over a year of wait once you order it. Just to put the body and plow on of the big trucks, there's a 400-day wait at this point, lead time. And I'm also toying in my head that maybe we don't need another great big truck.
Times are
Things have changed
changing.
A lot.
You've mentioned
Maybe
that
we need
before.
to just get another 650.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I plow with a 650 and, I mean, it's easy. There's no problems.
Is this something that we are allowed to do, Marjorie?
Well, you have a reserve fund that has about 105,000 in it,
Mm-hmm.
and you are, as selectmen, authorized to use that for the purpose that it was intended. So it's a, public works equipment reserve.
Hmm.
So it's there, we're not
Right,
taking money
Right,
from anywhere
right.
else.
And we replenish it with budgeted next year for the same piece of equipment. So it's kind of a wash one way or the other. I personally, it makes sense, seems to make sense on the surface of it, like a little more time to think about it and look at it, obviously specs on the trucks. And if we're gonna do it, and we're still under what you plan on budgeting and still within what we have for reserve, put the sander in it now. Don't wait. And that's my opinion.
That will be a few months down the road before that will happen.
Yeah.
Cause once I ordered one in August and just got it
Right.
last week, so.
What truck was that for? The new sander?
Rolly's truck needed a sander. I mean, I suppose I could take it out of Rolly's and put it in the new one. But I might use, you know.
But the back body on roll is bad.
Yeah, I put a 3/4 inch piece of pressure treated plywood in there and set it on that. It's fine.
Hold the sander?
The hole and it's like this.
Oh, I got you. It's small. Yeah.
Not like the whole
Yep.
thing, but unfortunately, it's gonna take the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, you can't take the sander out of Rolly's truck he has now and put it in the new truck? For why?
It's not that we can't, but there's controls. It would be something that it might have to go somewhere to have done, where it's never had the hydraulics.
It's not equipped for it.
Hydraulic.
Right, okay.
But like I said, you know, I think that if we have a snowstorm and we have 5 people, if Rolly's truck's running, why not use it just to sand with? But it's not gonna be any good now for hauling material or any other jobs that we have. I mean, throw a bag of garbage in it, it's gonna rip apart and be everywhere. So
Because the back, well, I assume this is the floor of the back body.
yeah, when it was brand new, they were doing all the blasting.
Yeah.
So they were throwing all that rock in it.
So beat up.
So it's like segregated all the way, like it's cups.
And then the
all the way,
salt
and then
and the
it-
sand sets in it,
and
rotted
then-
out.
Yep, and now it thinned out and then it started to tear.
Okay, I'm good on this, thank you.
Lad has a.
Lad?
Besides the body, is there anything else wrong with the truck?
Not at the moment. But now you've done it.
Okay, that's a good question, Lad, thank you. Dawn, you had something
Yeah.
to say?
Well, if you have the truck, you're more apt to use the new one rather than the old one, right? So I guess if we were in the summertime, I'd say move the sander. But right now, you might really need it. You know, you can't have it tied up. Well, you're in that probably a couple of weeks to do something like that.
To do a sander.
Yeah.
If I swapped it out.
Yeah.
It would have to go back to HP Fairfield to have the controls put in, I believe. I can ask.
Shepherd's gonna swap it up for you?
I don't know if they can because it's an HP Fairfield rig. I'm not sure if they can do that or not.
Do they do cab and chassis there?
I think they're trying, when they get them, they're built,
No.
they'll.
Have them built somewhere else.
Lad, did you have something more you wanted to say?
I'm just of the opinion if there's nothing wrong with the truck, just fix the body and keep the 100 grand in the reserve fund. That's my opinion.
It's a 2015.
Well, it is, yeah, it is almost 10 years old, right?
It is, well, it'll be in September.
I mean, do you think it would be then if something happens with a 10-year-old vehicle and she has to buy a vehicle that's $140,000 because I don't know what I think about that.
This Dodge a holdover?
Do you think it's a good idea to put money into it? Excuse me. Do you think it's a good idea, Lad, to put money into repairing that vehicle versus?
To fix the body? Yeah, rather than buy a whole new vehicle, I do.
Nice speak.
Millie?
So the truck's broken the frame once, it's been repaired. It had a pretty nasty front end collision. It's had 2 front ends put in it.
Is that the one that the frame got bent when plowing last
Was it
year?
It
Or
broke.
it broke?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
remember
same
that.
vehicle?
That's the same one.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm
It's-
sorry,
It's had a hard life.
yeah, I think that it'd be silly for us to put too much money into it. How much is a new bed, approximately, just off the top of your head?
Well, for a bed and a plow and a wing is $68,000, so.
But just for the bed
The
itself?
bed, I don't know without looking, but I think it would be crazy to put that kind of money into a 10-year-old.
Well, not a 68,000, that's why I was asking, if we get this new truck and take it out of the reserve fund, and then you can find that you think the old truck will last a little bit longer, how much would a bed be? We don't have to buy the whole plow mess and everything, just if the bed is what the biggest issue is right now with that vehicle.
I don't know if it'd be worth fixing that game.
Okay, no, I was
In the
just
summertime,
asking.
we've got the other trucks, but, well, if we have this new truck, then, that would take it out. The only reason to hold on to that truck even is, we've run into several times where we've had more than one truck down in a storm, and we've been jumping through hoops and borrowing plows and renting trucks and getting other people to help us.
Would you suggest to keep that vehicle and not try to sell it?
I would keep it for a little bit.
Yeah. So you'd still have the old truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Hang on to it for a year, see
Yeah.
how much you use it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
just see what happens,
Right.
Okay, folks, well, you want me to make a motion that we take the money out of the reserve fund to purchase
I'm with Lad. I don't really like spending money, but I think in this time, given the situation that we've had in the past with breakdowns and an old fleet, it might be chance, if we can get a good buy, we might want to do it. So I'd move that we do it under those conditions.
Could you make the motion more specific?
yes, I don't know the name of the vehicle, but, oh, yes.
After you buy the new truck, I would suggest you just weld the springs into the old one. And then you'll have your brush truck and your chopped up gravel truck to beat around until it dies on its own.
Right.
Share the wear on the newer ones until you absolutely have no other choice.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, not buy a new
the
bed or
welded
anything.
onto that dump body would hold a lot more brush than you could probably get if you tried to sell it off, given its history.
Right.
If anybody looked at the facts, as they say, if you look at the fact sheet and see all its history, you're not gonna get a cent for it.
Right.
Okay, well, I will make the motion in one moment.
Right on the top.
And it
the
will
name
be-
of what the truck is and all.
Is there amount of money in here?
I don't know, hold on, what's
That's
the
not
amount of
a
money,
quote, right?
Nelson? Have to have that for the motion.
86,565.
That's tax title all done.
86,800 what?
I know.
86,565.
It's automotive.
That's actually the purchase agreement. So
Takes time.
That's drive it out the door.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we approve. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Motion to take
Speak right.
86,565,000 out of the reserve fund, from reserve fund for the purchase of the 2024 Ram 3500.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Get yourself a new truck, Milso.
Lad, are you in the negative?
Oh, did you? He voted.
Okay.
He voted nay.
Nay.
Nay. Okay. We moved 8A to the beginning of the meeting after approved and signed treasurer's warrant, item number 4. So we've already discussed that. That is done. We'll go to item 9, new business. A, review MSFS tariff number 9.
And you do have that in your packet.
Yes,
Has anybody had a chance to look at the existing tariff?
yes.
Good, let me talk about it. As you know, there's a new tariff coming out. It does involve rate increase, among other things. Our primary tasking from the last advisory meeting, which I have to present at this coming meeting on Thursday, was to review town's portion of the priorities and the island specific in overall in general. Now, they're scheduling public hearings. They'll probably be having them in Belfast again. That's central to all of ferry service people. I know it's not convenient for us, but so be it. So that's gonna be on the rate, and I don't know if we have any input or if we're just gonna stand there and salute sharply and walk away or whatever the case may be. But for as far as the island stuff goes, in item 12 covers the island specific as far as vehicle and the municipal priorities go. And it's in paragraph 4 under item 12 with Vinalhaven. And 4B, there's a thing in there about, it used to be the Clar Island. And when we had Clar Island, it was the fish plants. They had a priority to go over in the morning and come back at night. And after they sold the fish plant and did away with it, the town held on to that priority. Even though they didn't, it's not used very rarely, if at all. But the consensus at the time was if we have it and let it go, we'll never get it back. Well, I think in the 16 years that I was at the ferry service and the 5 years since I've left, and Marjorie can probably verify this as good as anybody. Whenever the town's needed a priority, there's a simple request that just says we request a priority on such and such a date, such and such a ferry. And a very, very minimal why you need it. Mostly the why you need it is just who it is and what size vehicle they're coming. And I don't think the ferry services ever denied them one. If they wanted this, we used to have, they had certain days it was just scheduled into the schedule that on Tuesdays and Thursdays we'd have the dump truck come over. And on Wednesdays we had the demo truck come over, and we used to have scrap metal on Friday. And well, ever since we've had the compactor, those schedules have gone out the door. We used to have a 60-foot trailer truck that would come over twice a week and get the trash. Now we have a 35-foot truck that sometimes goes 10 days without coming out to get the trash, because compacting it versus just letting it pile up into the bed of a body and throwing a tarp over it has really reduced the amount of trash that goes out of here. Now, not so much the trash, but just the frequency of having to have it hauled away. And the trash truck, when it comes over at 7 and goes back at 8:45. So we as a town haven't been using our 7 o'clock priority to go over. So then they came up with an idea. Well, we do line numbers on Monday morning for Tuesday. So if the town didn't want to use their priority on Tuesday, they'd have to let the ferry know Sunday afternoon so that we could either offer it to one of the other truckers on the island or be able to give out line numbers for Tuesday, because at 5:30 in the morning when the phone starts ringing, we can't call Marjorie up at her house or Millie up at her house and say, oh, by the way, is the town going to use that priority tomorrow? So we had to have a cutoff date. And with that in mind, why not just eliminate it? Because the tariff reads, if you look at paragraph 4B, It says that it's a transferable priority that an island business can get in the morning. But the only one that can use the 3:15 or the 4:30, depending on what time of year it is, to come home, it has to have been an oil truck that's been in line since the 1 o'clock, since before the 1 o'clock boat left. And hasn't had enough room to get onto it, so it's still sitting there at 3:15 or 4:30. And if it didn't let it on the boat, it would have to be parked off the ferry's line, because you can't leave an oil truck sitting on the dock overnight because somebody comes along and messes with it, and you dump 4,000 gallons of oil into the harbor, nobody's gonna be happy. So that's an option was give that oil truck the priority on the last boat to get it off the property. If you look into the reservations for Vinalhaven, you'll see that back when it was Tiny's, but now it's a permanent part of the tariff, is that one of the 45-day reservations that goes over at 10:30 and back at either 3:15 or 4:30, depending on the time of year, has been given to the oil trucks. Chet used to use that 3 days a week when alternative oil was in business. Alternative oil has been gone away, and Evan has, to my knowledge, never used it. But since they already have a 3:15 or 4:30 reservation in place for oil trucks from November 1st to April 30th, we don't need this town priority at all. Just get rid of it.
We don't need it.
And if Marjorie has it or Millie has a breakdown and they say, hey, we need a grader sent over from Union or whoever's gonna give us a grader for the week, a phone call or a letter from Marjorie, and boom, here comes the grader from Union, and no impact on the tariff at all. So why not just take all that confusing lettering, wording, and get rid of it?
Yeah, it is quite confusing. I'll give them credit for that.
It used to take longer to explain the way it worked to people at the ferry than it did for the ferry to make the trip.
Yeah.
And people would still walk out, they'd be shaking their head, and the ferry would be all back and done, and it got nowhere.
Milsa.
We try not to use the reservation boats anyway to take trucks over or bring things back.
Only if it's an emergency. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Understandable.
Normally we stay away from reservation boats.
Okay, so is that something
That's something that we would
have to?
Well, everything that changes a tariff has to be agreed upon by you, and then I, as our voting member, present it over there.
I see.
Let the powers that be decide if it makes sense or not.
So, when you say agreed to by us, does that mean we just a consensus of the board? Right. Okay.
Then I just put in here, these, when I make my pitch over there, I say, this is what the selectmen agree.
Right. Well, if Marjorie thinks that it's fine and you think it's fine, then I don't see why we would disagree.
So do it.
What do I know?
Need a motion and vote on it, or?
No, he said it's just a consensus, is what it said.
I have a few more here to go over, and then you can decide collectively if you want to change it or not. There's a thing in there that says on the fifth boat, fourth boat leaving Rockland, it has a UPS 20-foot truck reserve as a second truck reservation. UPS hasn't been 20 feet for 9 years now.
Al, excuse me, can you tell me where that is in our
Yeah,
packet?
it's on the
first page.
It's on page 12, but it's 12, but it's further back. Okay.
Even at page 13.
How long have the UPS box up?
Well, it's 27 right now. When it comes from, we had the filbert in the Curtis. It will sit on the side, it won't interfere with the other truck traffic.
Right.
It's just, like especially on the Philbrook, you can only put 2 cars if they're full size on the right-hand side. And because of the engine hatch up front.
Yeah.
Oh,
So putting it on the side really didn't affect the load at all. Let me see, here it is. It's in F, paragraph 1 of F. It's on page 13 if you've got the tariff right there. Where it says the fall combined following reservations are authorized.
Thank you.
And it's leaving Rockland on the 4th truck. It
Yeah,
says
right
4
there.
cars, 1 truck, and 1 20-foot parcel delivery truck. I think we should just delete the 20 feet out of that, and just, when we agreed long ago to give UPS the
Right,
use of that reservation coming home, but just take the footage off it so that
that
they
makes
don't
sense.
start playing head games with Patrick over there when he's all ready to go, and they come along and say, oh, you're 27 feet, you can't go.
And lineman Mike.
Because it's all up
You
to
never
the
know.
lineman on duty, his
Right.
interpretation. And then throughout the tariff, they're aware of it, but it's still there, and I'm just bringing it up to mention that they've still got the Curtis that they sold 3 years ago. It's listed throughout with its
Mhm.
carrying capacity and all that, just change all references from the Curtis to include the Spear.
On the
We're gonna be
Libby,
doing the same thing next year because we're getting a new ferry to replace the Libby that goes to Matinicus, so they'll have to reword the whole thing again. These are some things that they should be able to do with a change sheet rather than pen and ink changes, rather than having to wait till the whole tariff gets rewritten.
Right.
They can just send over a new page 13 to replace the old one and say, hey, we've got the Libby gone, we've got the Curtis gone. So that's something that they need to do. In item 18, and this has been asked to me before, and it affects me personally, so.
item what?
Don't think that
I don't have an
I-
18.
In 18, it says that all ferry service retirees get passenger tickets.
We don't have an 18.
I just gave them the Vinalhaven specific.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I thought you had the whole tariff, I'm sorry.
I have the full tariff here.
It's on page,
Quite a hefty document.
on page 17. The very last line on page 17, and it's all says retired Main State Ferry Service employees can have walk-on passage stall their vessels. And it says that all retirees are granted complimentary walk-on passage.
Right,
Well, I think if you're a permanent island resident, you should be able to take your vehicle as well.
Ooh, I don't know.
you mean, if, in this here, you think it should include, well, they used to do that years
That's
ago,
right,
and they
years
took it
ago they
away.
did. And then for some reason it got eliminated. And we went to the union, and the union said, well, they support it, but they don't know how they can get it worked in there. If we can work it in, then the powers to be can figure out how to word it, I think.
Just to be clear, that's not Vinalhaven specific, right? That's
Correct,
for
that would be for
all the islands?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to take my car to North Haven, because I don't live on North Haven. And somebody that lives on the mainland can't just bring his car over to sightsee because he doesn't live here, or she doesn't live here.
It would only pertain
But it would
to,
only pertain to the permanent island
Right.
residents that were retirees from the service, that we should be able to get our free tickets back.
I don't know, I just feel funny about it because we were just asked, the selectmen were just asked to review the Vinalhaven specific
Right,
parts of the tariff.
right.
So now, I mean, it's up to you, but you're being asked to weigh in on
I think we
something
stay
that,
out of it. I tend to agree. Although I think it makes sense,
Mhm.
an organization wise, to take care of your retired employees
Well,
that way.
my
they
partner's
had
a
it for a long time,
retiree.
and then they
I agree.
took
that
it away,
makes perfect
so
sense,
they're
but
not
I'm
gonna give it
sure
back.
Well,
something
that's
that-
why I said it impacts me personally, but if it doesn't fall within the realm, then I'll just bring it up at the meeting out of my own asking, rather than saying that the town was pushing for this.
Right,
Because the town is not gonna push on that.
no,
Al, what
no,
I would be okay with, provided there's room on the ferry for that free cab.
well, I agree with what Marjorie just said, it does not pertain only to
Us.
to the town of Island Haven, so I hesitate to even put it any,
Weigh in.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with what,
I
everybody's
agree
comments.
too, I mean, it's,
Okay, so I'll just I won't put that in my, this is what the town agreed to, I'll just put that in my own notes to myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Raise the question Thursday afternoon.
I have,
Gather a few more retirees for a little support.
I have to say that once they took it away, they're not gonna bring it back. That's for certain. You can count on that.
That was
but-
more revenue.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, anything,
Anyway, so that's the gist of it then is like, we'll eliminate that overly worded and confusing paragraph on that town priority that doesn't use.
right,
Yeah.
And take the line.
Marjorie and, can't think of his
No,
name
no.
now.
Brian, Matt,
No,
The one that just,
Millie.
the town manager just left here.
Andy Dorr.
Andy, they were never, to my knowledge, denied a request for a town priority for any reason.
Yeah, when I read the island specific things, I picked up on that as well. And then when, what's the matter with me?
And, Evan?
When you guys mentioned it, I said, yeah, I agree to just take it out.
so can we agree and move on?
can I just ask a question? So it's only, yes, I can ask a question.
no, you can't.
The only stuff that really impacts the island specific is paragraph 12, the island specific issue. Everything else is
It's
every
item number, Al, it's item number 12, 4B only, correct?
Only, right.
Okay.
And the length on the.
And the
And then the length on the, I got that. I just wanted to clarify that it's
4B only.
4B only.
Stay there, it just won't come into, the A will drop if there's no B.
Okay, that's my question. I just wanted to clarify that, so we're clear. What was,
4B from the.
okay, that sounds good to me. If Marjorie, I agree, if Marjorie agrees with you on that, then it, it's good. Okay, so the consensus is yes, take it to them. I have a question about the fact that they were gonna have a open time when you could take public comment on the ferry price increase, the ticket increase, fare increase, whatever I'm trying to say. And did they ever do that?
That's what
This is,
Billy Gary sent me an email yesterday. And he said, because I asked him again, I said, whatever happened to the public discussion? He said the public discussion will be, it'll be announcements will be sent out, but the meeting will be conducted in Belfast.
So it hasn't been set yet.
I'm sorry, it hasn't been set yet.
yeah,
Spoke on it.
yes, that's fine.
Okay.
That was, because I didn't bring it up at the last meeting because it was my first meeting. And when they were talking about it, I wasn't aware until I came to the selectmen's meeting that they had presented like plan A, B, and Z, and it was supposed to have been decided.
Right.
It all got turned down to plan C, and this is what came out. And so I didn't know there was anything prior to that.
Well, I had.
He said that the public hearings, and he didn't tell me when exactly they were gonna be. Probably sometime after this meeting when they get the other changes in, and then they'll start talking about them.
I just recalled that it was supposed to be like the end of December or something like that, and I wondered whatever happened to all that. Okay.
Hasn't happened yet.
No, okay, great. You all set, Al?
I am.
Good, thank you very much. That was very informative.
I've got one thing to add.
Oh, lad, my goodness, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. There's something ferry service related that we should be aware of. We might be stuck with the Libby as the island boat for a while. I don't, just passing the word on.
Go ahead, lad, and finish.
I mean, I just pass. I don't know what. Guess I'm saying to make people aware that we might end up with the Libby, as our first boat, and it might be for a while.
What do you mean by the first boat? I mean, my understanding
the boat
is
that will be on the island will be the Libby.
What?
I thought when the Philbrook was done out of the yard that the Libby was coming off.
When the Philbrook is done from the yard, Right, what they thought,
I think that all changed today.
well, it was being talked about. I haven't heard that it was true, and I saw the Libby was here at 3 o'clock this afternoon, so I'm hoping that the longer the Libby stays in Rockland, the better we're gonna be. The Smith had, lost its reduction.
Right,
So it's tied up.
right.
It can't be fixed until the Philbrook comes out of the yard, because the problem with the Smith can't be done dockside.
Right,
So as soon as the Philbrook comes out, and the problems with the Philbrook was when they were doing its house scraping and everything, they found extensive corrosion. They had to have a lot of plating replaced. So that delayed its time in the yard. But it's supposed to be out of the yard by the end of this month. So we're looking at 8-10 days maybe.
Yeah, what they're talking about doing is the Spear going to Islesboro and the Thompson going to Rockland, and then we would have the Libby.
No.
Give Islesboro the Libby. They make 50 trips a day. Give them the Libby.
Why would they do that when the reserve boat is, why would you make the Libby the reserve boat?
That was what I asked him yesterday when he told me on the phone. And I asked him, I said, with all the reserves that we have, why would you can't put the grocery reserves and you can't time the freight trucks to their loading and unloading by putting them on the Thompson's run. Because it's backwards. The Thompson leaves over at 7 and the groceries don't even get to the terminal to be unloaded until 7 in the morning. So that means it's gonna be noon before the groceries get here. And how are they gonna unload the groceries and load the lobsters and get back on the 1:30 boat when they don't get here till noon?
Right. I don't understand either. I thought the island-based boats were supposed to remain at their port. And the Spear is the Vinalhaven-based ferry. So why would they take our only ferry that can fit anything on there?
Well, because they're giving.
But I thought that
But the reason they said they didn't want to send the Thompson over here is because the Thompson has a 5-man crew because of its tonnage and.
Yeah, right. We understand that.
The Philbrook, I mean, the Spear, although it holds more, the tonnage and stuff is different. So their crew is all ordinary seamen. I mean, they're all able-bodied seamen. The 5th person on the Thompson is an ordinary. And an ordinary can't relieve an able body. An able body can work for an ordinary, but the ordinary can't fill in for an able body.
Still doesn't make me.
And the reason is they can't use a 5-man crew on the Libby. And they can't lay off the 5th person from the crew. I was thinking, why don't they just assign that 5th person to here, have them come out here and spend the week? We got a nice crew quarters. Instead of saying, drive back and forth to Rockland every morning because this is your crew, say, look, we're putting a boat over there. So you as the ordinary are gonna have to go to because
that makes too much
just
sense.
put them out here for a week. That's what they do with all the rest of it.
Something's going on over there when they give us the Libby, consistently give us that little tiny ferry boat. The North Haven ferry runs back and forth every day with who knows how many cars on it. But oh no, we can't put the Libby on the North Haven run.
Or the Islesboro run.
And it definitely won't go to Islesboro because they have too many people.
The Libby you can't take trucks on. You can't take.
Right, no, I understand that, the big trucks in Islesboro.
The thing is,
Yesterday.
and this is the part that why everybody always whines about why don't we put reservations on the Thompson now, or why don't we put reservations on the Curtis when we had the Curtis and the Philbrook, is because we're the only island with 2 boats. And that Rockland boat is technically a spare.
Right.
Any island loses their boat, we're the only one with 2, so we have to give one of them money.
You don't have to.
But I always thought that the island-based ferry was never, the
Right.
sphere I'm talking about, that ferry is not to be taken off and placed on another run because that's our island-based ferry.
Do we have any recourse for this? Anything, if we don't, then
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
we're wasting time.
That doesn't even make any sense.
No, it doesn't, but it's,
How can
it
you,
never does.
how can you beat these people?
You can't.
Hell, where is the decision being made?
Rafa, that's where.
So young Bill's making the decision?
Young Bill and the port captain, Dan
McNichols.
McNichol and Bill,
Okay. Do we have an option to go above them?
we can always go above, I just don't know who the above person to talk to is.
This isn't right.
Other than the transportation head, the head of transportation.
Well, we know.
I don't know who Billy Gary reports to.
Lad, do you know any more about this?
I can find. I mean, I would just pass it on the word that that's what was rumored, and so I just thought I'd pass the word on. Didn't mean it to.
No, it's.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Lad.
We need to beat the messenger.
That was a nice tangent we went down.
I just think it's totally wrong, just totally wrong.
Yep, it is.
And Marjorie,
That's how bureaucracies work.
The consensus is we don't like that decision.
No,
At all.
if that comes up in conversation,
we do every 6 months.
yeah. Well, anyway, now that I have a headache, are we
Before
move on to
we
the next
blame it
one?
on the last manager, but.
not
he
anymore?
hasn't got his feet wet yet.
Yeah, I think it's blamed on
You've
the
made some bad
fourth
decisions.
manager. Okay, we gotta move along. To, thanks, Al. Thank you. You got a lot of information. Appreciate it. Thanks, lad.
Yep. I was hoping.
She says without any sarcasm
I
at
just
all.
extended the meeting longer.
Now I see why you're on Zoom. Okay, we're moving on to item 9B, airport survey.
This came out of a meeting that I had with the new general manager at Mount Scott Island Air. Mark and Ryan and I met with him, and they're still, I mean, as they've been discussing for years, they would like to do a airport extension, and it's problematic in a lot of ways. But this came up when
Jake and DW.
I'm sorry, when Jake and DW were still on the board, they wanted to put some money into a reserve fund to possibly get a survey done. Because, no matter what we do, we need to know where the property lines are at the airport. So I guess because of the conversation I had with the general manager, this whole idea came up again. And my question is, do we want to move forward with this survey as a first step to any further action that we may or may not take?
And these are the new owners now, they still put off Scott Air.
Going off way too
Yeah.
long.
When was the last survey done of that property?
I don't have a good survey
So we don't.
in the folders that I have. I don't, yeah, I mean, I have some drawings,
Right.
but there's nothing,
No official survey.
yeah.
And I think when we discussed this, I think the cost was like 7,000 to 10,000. Does that ring a bell with you? Okay.
That's about where it would be.
I don't know how I'm remembering that, but
That's part of the thing.
I remember discussing it before.
What are the primary reasons that they want to extend? Is it because of the
Safety, different types of planes.
That's my question. I think I put new planes on.
Yeah.
It might be worthwhile. I think we should do it, but I think it might be worthwhile having them to come to the board and just kind of give us a presentation of where what are their plans? And we have we still have the exclusive use of them, but what are their plans?
Right.
Not a bad idea.
It's a good idea.
Excuse me.
Maybe not when Pam's coughing.
I'm for having a survey, and as I was talking to Marge before the meeting start, started, I'd already been looking into getting a survey of some of the property that I have back there. It's the tax map doesn't show, those lines are not super accurate, but I own very, very close to the back of the airport. So I was gonna have a survey done anyways. So I told Marge I could pass. I can't remember which outfit I was talking to. I can pass that name along. Because if they're gonna come out and do that, I would try to get them to do mine at the same time.
Or maybe if they're gonna come out and do yours, the town can get them to do ours at the same time, we could save money.
Yeah, potato, potato.
So we need to make a motion to move that ahead.
Yeah, I guess that's what you guys want to do. That's fine with me.
I think we should.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. This conversation has been going on for, I don't know how many years,
We should know what we are.
probably 6 years at least, probably a long
It
time.
makes sense to know what we
So
are.
I think it's time
Kevin
that,
was still alive at the time, so that's how long.
what's that?
I said Kevin was still alive. 'Cause
Oh, Lord, yeah.
He was pushing it for years. So.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a long time, that's for sure. So, okay, make a motion that where's the money, does it,
There's $10,000 in the reserve.
so you want to take it, we'd take it out of there?
I think that would be our only opportunity.
Okay, so I would make a motion that we have a airport survey done, moving money out of the airport reserve to cover the cost. Is that what the motion should be? Okay,
I think we should do it, but you need to get a price first on it, obviously.
No, I mean, we could make a motion to do it, as long
Yes.
as it doesn't exceed X.
okay,
amount of
wait a
dollars.
minute. I've made a motion. You need to second before we continue our discussion.
I seconded.
Okay. Now, what did you just say?
I said, just so we don't get a surprise, we have to, before we actually sign something, let's find out just what it's gonna cost.
Right.
But I think we should do it.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Oh, you can see. Okay. All right.
I'll second it. I don't know whether I got a second.
No, it's, I seconded.
Yeah.
All right, hey, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha.
Okay,
So we can't authorize.
what's that?
Make sure.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Oh, okay.
I'm not being funny.
Item 10, report of town manager, and I know that Gabe has something she wants to add at the.
Yeah, Gabe, wanted to give us an update on the main infrastructure adaption grant.
Can I see what Linnell just said, please?
Linnell said, it would also give an actual on the face of the earth where the airport overlay district lies.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Gabe. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I hadn't
Just
even
ask it.
said anything, so no interruption.
Oh, gosh.
No, I apologize because I forgot to put this on the agenda, but it really should have been under downtown project. But we spoke, I think at the last meeting, I mentioned the main infrastructure adaptation fund, bringing it to your awareness as a possibility for doing a study to improve and like replace and improve the wave break / crib work at the ferry terminal. In
Yes.
further discussions with Brent and Marjorie, what we would like to do, if it's amenable, is to, and drum roll, put that like we need to spend more money on the downtown project, but past this last storm, we've been talking about what additional resilience measures does the parking lot need? And that whole area past the parking lot behind the old fire hall between the Haven and, or excuse me, Dot and Millie's and the parking lot, that whole area has been eroded and water just goes right in there. We were taking observation at the last storm of where the water flow is going. And if we're going to elevate the parking lot, that just basically is like a little funnel for the water to flow through there. So we're looking at like where are those pinch points in the downtown, the boat ramp, that area. So I've been talking with Margie and I have been talking with the engineers about it. There's that main infrastructure adaptation grant is up to 125,000, and we think that we could do some decent I don't know what to call it, like a retaining wall. But Millie can do some stuff with it now to, kind of do a stopgap measure for all of that erosion. But anyway, short story. We would like to apply for this grant, 125,000, to go toward some additional resilience measures for the downtown parking lot area, behind I don't want to say strictly behind the engine house, but anyway, that's what we'd like to do if folks are amenable. It does require a $6,250 match, but we already have that money. We have money in our budget that was pre-allocated coming out of the general fund that we can find that match there. So we don't need any additional money. It would just be applying for this grant to give us a little bit more money for construction. So I know that seems crazy when we're working with a very large amount of money already. Yeah. But just this last storm just kind of, was like, should we do more than what we were planning to do?
Right.
And if we are going to, this would be good because it would be, in line with when we would need some more funds. So anyway,
Okay.
that's my pitch, but
Margie wants to say something.
No, just if you think about that piece of property, you can envision it's right at the end of if you envision the road that goes in between the old fire hall and Dot and Millie's, it's kind of straight back. It's that area right back there that has seen increased erosion and took a hit.
Does the town own that property?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't hurt to apply for the grant, and if the matching funds are already available, why not?
It's a no-brainer, or seemingly a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I will add that we as in sea level rise committee members were able to observe during the storm, because one of our gauges is at the wave break at the ferry terminal, that is in really bad shape. That some of that was moving. So we don't want to not focus on that, but we have another opportunity for a planning grant that's coming up this spring. That does require a little match, but I think it can be in-kind match. So it could be staff time, or, we can figure that out when that grant opens up. I can bring, another proposal to you when we can figure out what that would look like. But that's the shore and harbor planning grant, and I think that would be a great project for that grant. So we don't want to let that fall off the radar, obviously, but it just seemed like we should seize this one for construction while it was there. Doesn't mean we'll get it. Like you said, Leslie, we could not get it, but it's worth applying. Can't hurt to apply. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
We know the answer if we don't ask. It's no. So
okay.
we ask.
That's right.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
You need a motion from us? Do we need to vote on this?
Geez. I don't know, Margie, what do you think? I have documentation from. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't hurt, but I don't know what your motion would be. I guess just
to support the main infrastructure adaptation grant
application.
And maybe something about Margie, you'll have to do this, but just to say that the match is coming from a previous general fund allocation for the downtown project or something.
Got that? Yeah. So it's a motion to support the main infrastructure adaptation grant application for additional work on the downtown parking lot. And any match is already, I don't know.
Yeah, match from
Already
matching funds
or
previously
maybe like using match from the previous general fund allocation from the downtown project.
Right.
Okay,
We can make that work.
okay, so that's the motion.
All right, so move.
Second.
All in favor? Lad?
And Lad's not there,
Oh.
but
Oh,
I want to go.
sorry,
Okay.
I gotta come back on camera. Sorry.
Okay.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
All in favor, okay. Thanks, Lad.
All right, thank you so much. Sorry to throw that in at the end, and I apologize. I didn't have it when I did my update previously. Sorry.
That's okay. You're good. All righty. Marjorie, anything else going on?
I don't have anything else.
You don't? Sure?
Did you want anything else? An update on anything?
I don't think so.
I've got so many things in my brain.
I know, it's been.
You almost scared her. She's like, I don't know.
I know.
Should I report on
I
it?
know. It's crazy. It's been crazy day. Item 11, report of members. Anybody have anything?
I have a question, I got, with all the grants for storm damage, what are we applying? Do we have anything that would be applicable to put a request in for funds from the state for damage to the town properties?
How that works is that right now we've submitted cost estimates for the damage, the public damage that the town has had. And then all of that sifts through to the county. The county gets that, compiles that information from all the towns in Knox County. And then if it reaches a certain threshold, then there's an emergency declaration, and then the money becomes available through FEMA.
Okay. Just curious.
So we've got our, potential ask in there with our information.
We've done what we can at this point.
Exactly.
If it doesn't elevate to FEMA, is there money available to the state emergency management?
They're tied together. MEMA and FEMA are,
Education for me.
it's okay. Yeah, it's all tied together. The state Maine Emergency Management Agency and Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Oh, Lord. That just went right out of my head, what I was just gonna say. I was gonna ask a question, but it clearly probably doesn't. It's not important.
Just a sinus infection.
Oh, yeah, anyway, okay, what I was gonna say can wait to another time, I guess. Leslie, you all set? Okay. Lad, you all set?
Yep, I'm all set.
Okay, our next meeting is 0206. Is that
I
correct?
believe so.
Executive session we have to go into?
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
I don't think that's.
Oh, no, it's gone. No, it's over.
Millie had
no
said
longer
she's
needed.
all set. She doesn't need the executive session.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm happy to,
No, that's,
I can't really talk.
no, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, we're all set.
Okay.
We need to end this meeting, and I would call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Lad.
Thanks, Lad.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 See ya. Thank you.